Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David,
I'm right.
and this is where we talk all things Star Wars and the big news that dropped, of course, Friday morning. The embargo did lift for the reviews for the Galactic Star Cruiser Halcyon, and lots of social media influencers and some podcasters got invited. And I think my TikTok got flooded with those reviews. I think every other video was a Halcyon Star Cruiser review.
Yes.
And they did give us a lot of interesting insight, a lot of stuff I didn't know. Um, so Ray, what was one of the things that you saw that was kind of a surprise, maybe, or something that you weren't aware of yet?
Um, Probably so I've only seen a bunch of TikTok videos, which I mean is amazing. All these people get to go to it and we can see it for free. Um, but I think what was most surprising is that like the face characters are roaming the hotel like freely. Like Ray was hanging out with some kids. Chewie was in an elevator, and it's like I thought that they'd be like there'd be like little shows or like pop-ups. I didn't really realize that they'd be just traveling. That kind of
Mhm.
surprised me.
Yeah, it really seemed like they tried to make it like a space cruise type experience, and they went to great lengths, I think, to make that happen. I think we all knew beforehand once you got your room, entered your room, you didn't have a physical window to the outside world. It was a basically like a TV screen, and that was your window out to space. And you have the option of actually closing it when you go to bed, so that's kind of cool because of course the light would come in. And I think it's constantly changing, constantly moving. I think one of the podcasters TikToks, they actually put up a time lapse camera the whole trip. So
Oh
they
wow.
showed everything that was flying by. And I think you saw ships, you just saw blank space, you saw a ship explode actually in your window, and you saw the debris field afterwards. And you could actually see the ship flying through the debris field. And I think that was pretty much everything that was kind of interesting there. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. When we saw those pictures though for the cabins where you would spend the night essentially for 2 nights, they seemed kind of small in the pictures, but I think when you see some of these videos, they don't seem as small. So that kind of surprised me a little bit.
Well,
And
also with it being like a cruise ship kind of a thing, cruise
yeah.
ship rooms are tiny. You get like closets. So I wasn't really surprised by the rooms being that small.
Yeah, I've never been on a cruise, so I wouldn't
I've
know
I've
what to
been
say.
on one, uh, and the rooms are very tiny.
Nice. And yeah, speaking of cruises, Colin and Brooke, I believe, are actually on one right now, are going to be on one. So yeah, that surprised. The other thing that surprised me was the on tap unlimited blue and green milk. You could just
Oh,
go up to the dispenser, put your cup in, and just
I wanna go
drink.
just for that.
I know I do too. And people were saying that if you actually mixed the blue and green milk, it actually made a new flavor and it tasted better.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
I've been lucky to go to Galaxy's Edge a couple times. And the first time I went, I tried the blue milk, of course. I'm a bigger OT fan than anything, and I thought it was okay. Then I tried the green milk, which of course we saw in The Last Jedi, and I thought the green milk tasted way better, and I could actually just continuously drink that. And I know when I said it on the podcast, Colin was like freaked out. He's like, "What?" And I think Matt also had the same reaction. But yeah, the green milk actually tasted better to me. So,
The green milk is, like, coconut flavored, isn't it?
there's a mixture of
I
different
mean, nobody really
ingredients.
knows what's in it,
Right.
but
I don't think coconut because I don't really like coconut, but I don't
I
know.
mean,
It's
I didn't try the green milk, I only tried the blue milk. It was so
uh,
good.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't finish the blue milk for whatever reason. It just doesn't. It wasn't appealing to me. But it seems like the overall consensus is the blue milk is the best. But I mean, I wish the blue milk was the best for me because I mean, like I said, I'm an OT
It's
fan.
most iconic.
Yeah. So once you enter the Star Cruiser, they actually supply you with a special customized magic band that you wear, and it's got the Halcyon logo on. I believe they're all like beige or white or something, and that gets you into your room as you would expect. And I believe the specialized R2 unit that's roaming around, you can actually go up to it and scan your magic band on that droid, but I'm not quite sure what it does. It might have something to do with your missions. I
Mm.
know you use your smartphone to look at all the missions that are assigned to you, and it happens in real time, and your missions get updated, I believe. And like you said, you do run into the characters. You run into the captain, you run into some of the band members, and I'm not sure if that actually changes. Has potential to change your missions. I know all the characters that are roaming are wired up. Um, Seems like to me. But I do know the one thing that was really, really surprising was the fact that in your cabins, you have to opt out of them listening in on you, like an Alexa. Yeah, it's very strange. They can record everything you say in your cabins.
Honestly, it it is 2022. That does not surprise me anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people are always, like, so worried about being spied on, it's like, you have a smartphone in your back pocket, you're already being spied on.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. That's 100% true. So yeah, that was kind of shocking to me. The other things were, I think once you get in to the lightsaber training, I know I spoke to Colin about this. He was telling me that when they first kind of showed the public when you train with the remote and a lightsaber, those beams of light was actually the training part to actually do the reflection of the blast, which I never saw. So I know that was something that was kind of different from what our expectations were. Um, and I heard multiple people that were on the cruise say that it was unlimited food. So all you had to do was show up to the cafeteria. It was like a Star Wars buffet, and the food was very interesting. Um,
That would make sense for because if they wanna go after, like, a cruise style,
yeah,
there would be an unlimited buffet, and then there would be, like, private restaurants that you could go and pay for.
yeah,
But, yeah, that tracks.
yeah. So someone right here is saying that they heard Ray was going to pay for our tickets for the Star Cruiser.
I think they mean Rey Skywalker because 'cause I'm
Uh,
broke.
okay, yeah. So yeah, if you didn't know, we're live right now on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. So we're reading comments as they come in. But yeah, that price tag, it's a lot of money, and we all already knew that. I think it's $6,000 if you want the full cabin, with I believe it's a queen bed, 2 bunks, and there's also a pull-out bunk you can also use.
Now, is there a
Um,
limit on how many people per room?
I
'Cause
think they're gonna
is it like 6
enforce.
okay, 'cause, like, is it 6,000 some for the room or per person?
No, it's for the room. So, everyone thought of the hack of like, "Okay, well, let's split it with a bunch of friends and try it that way," but I don't think they're gonna allow more than, I think, 6 people. So, if you divide it all up, it's about 1,500 per person if you can get 5 of your closest friends to go, I guess. So
Looks like I need some close friends who are rich.
so yeah, well, maybe if I go, you go, Colin and Brooke are already there. So and then Matt's gonna be there too. I think that's me, you, Colin, Brooke, Matt. So and then Josh is there too. So that's 6 people right there. And most of those people live in the Orlando area. And most of those people do work at Disney World. So you would figure that I don't think they get a discount though.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd be allowed are they allowed to go there? Because I know, when I went to Disney, we were talking to somebody in Disney Springs who was saying that, cast members were not allowed to reserve spots for, Rise of the Resistance for a while. Like, they weren't allowed to ride it outside of, like, I guess, like, the first people who, I don't know, like, tested it or something?
Right. So this past week was basically for media and for social media influencers. So I think next week the actual cruise for the general public starts. And I think a lot of the people that were on this kind of like, I guess, beta voyage, they actually did have tickets, and I heard a lot of them say they're gonna actually go back again, and then they're gonna do that review as well, because, of course, I think they went to the full nines for these people because they're gonna put everything up on social media, which was cool. I mean, it was cool to see all the TikToks, it was cool to see all the YouTube videos, and I think that was Disney's Lucasfilm's best marketing move because they made it seem way better than any kind of produced video that we got. I know this last video that we got was actually pretty good with Matt Martin, but just to see everything from the food to the lodging to the way the rooms are laid out, to the way they were like tactile with everything. They were on the missions. They were interacting with cast members. There was one cast member in particular who was fantastic. He was basically the embodiment of General Hux, but it wasn't General Hux. It was a different First Order guy. But his mannerisms, of course, he had the English accent. He played up. I mean, he played up the crowd. He interacted with everyone like flawlessly. Little kids would come up to him, and his responses were like so spot on to a First Order officer. So watching the stuff made me want to actually try and attempt to go and maybe get 5 other people to actually try this. But of course, like I say, I'm an OT guy. I would prefer that there be more OT stuff. But if you look at Star Tours, Star Tours is basically leaning towards what they're kind of trying to do with like Batuu, Galaxy's Edge, and the Star Cruiser. So, I mean, and I have no problem with Star Tours. Star Tours is awesome. But of course, you do get to go on original trilogy adventures on Star Tours.
Yeah, I love how, like, so many people would be like, "Oh, they're gonna retcon the sequels," or, "Oh, they're, like, decanonizing them," and then Disney's like, "Here's thousands and thousands of dollars poured more into the sequels," and it's like, "Yeah, they're not decanonizing that. That's it's sticking around. Cry harder."
Yeah, the one part of it, I believe towards the end, which it feels like it's a spoiler, but I mean, it's all over YouTube, all over TikTok. So I guess spoiler alert for the Galactic Star Cruiser. But there's a point in your trip where Kylo Ren comes out, and of course he talks to the crowd, and they're like on
Yeah,
like a bridge type setup.
I have a little problem with that. They ripped off Phantom of the Opera because he just, like, drops the chandelier on top of the crowd, and I mean, not really, and it's not actually a chandelier, but I was like, "What in the Phantom of the Opera am I watching?" Anyway, continue. Kylo
Yeah,
Ren on the
so
bridge.
so yeah, we're on the bridge, and of course Kylo Ren addresses the crowd, and then of course Rey shows up, and it was a moment I think we were all kind of waiting for to see. She
That
pulls out
saber!
the hilt, and then she ignites the saber, and
Oh,
once she ignites it, I mean, the
my heart
crowd just
stopped.
went crazy. I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, my
there it
heart
is!"
stopped watching it. Oh my
So she
gosh.
ignites it, the saber comes out of the hilt like we all saw on the Instagram post. It feels like years ago now.
Yeah.
And then she kind of leans over, and then you can clearly kind of see she picks up a different saber to use in combat with Kylo Ren. So she kind of lightsaber fights, which was actually pretty good choreography between them two fighting on that bridge, Kylo Ren and Rey. And I think that fight went on for, I don't know, like 20 seconds or so. I don't think I actually saw what happened after the fight. So,
Yeah, I haven't
but
seen anything that happened after the fight.
I did see there was one point where Kylo Ren actually force grabbed Rey,
Yes, and she
and
slides across the bridge. I almost dropped my phone when I saw it. I was like, "Okay, this is, like, visually, like, impressive." Like, just seeing that, I was like, "Can we do a better swap with the lightsaber kinda like this is?" But I'll take what I can get. It's cool.
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, they have some type of like conveyor belt type like
Oh, yeah.
treadmill system down there to make it look like she's being force pulled.
And
But yeah,
I don't know how, like, regular this is, but one of the videos that I saw when Rey and Kylo are fighting, I think she like kicks him and he just like bites it and just like face plants right on the ground. And I'm like,
Oh wow.
oh, I hope that was stunted because it looked painful.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that part, but yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that I don't think either of us got to really see with all these videos that are now on the web and kind of plugging away for the Star Cruiser. But Patrick on YouTube is asking if we saw the bingo. Did you get to see the bingo?
On board bingo?
Yes, it was like a real world Earth type of bingo. They had like a hopper they would spin, and I think they had these cubes, and a cube would be pulled out or fall out, and they would call like the cube number or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I
So
wanna know what those bingo cards look like so we can
yeah.
mimic the design for our bingo cards.
And of course, they had Sabacc on there as well. It
Mm,
was like the hollow Sabacc where you actually saw the projection of the cards in the table. So yeah, Patrick's saying it's Galactic Bingo.
I like it.
And RFB says that he's going to go on the Star Cruiser through friends. So on his playlist, which is basically what we did. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of seeing it and watching these videos. And I've done this for several other like theme parks and stuff. And then I've actually gone afterwards. It's a whole different experience. I mean, being there is so different. And one of the takeaways that I kind of got was the fact that it was like super super busy, and it kind of heightens your anxiety because when you have your data pad and your smartphone and you're looking at all your missions and they're like coming in like nonstop, and then everything's scheduled, I kind of wonder if it's a whole lot more anxiety inducing than going to just like Disney World by itself, because I kind of get that feeling of, oh my gosh, I got to do everything as fast as possible. I got to make sure I'm like on point to get my money's worth and to fill in my time.
Yeah.
And to me, it feels like if I were to go to that thing, I would miss so much stuff because I just kind of want to chill and kind of just like be in that kind of environment of being on a Star Cruiser in outer space and just going to that one room of all of the, I think there's an attack that happens, and just watching, and I think there's a piece of it on the Rise of the Resistance where you see like huge cruisers going up against single piloted fighters, and it just looks awesome. I mean, just watch. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know how I would like be on the Star Cruiser because it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do. And of course, you do get a ride out to, I guess it's a small ship down to Batu, and you get to actually ride the rides without being in line, which is another perk. So
Ooh.
you just go straight up to Smuggler's Run, jump on the Falcon, and for me, Rise of the Resistance, just walking up to it, getting on would be worth a lot to me.
That's kind of what I did. My friends and I, we managed to get passes for Rise of the Resistance, and I think we were boarding group like number 3. So as soon as we got to the park, we just went right there and walked right on. It was so cool.
So yeah, RFB brings up a pretty good point. We were talking about this before the podcast, but that Rhodian band member, you can totally interact with her on the bridge,
So good.
and she talks to you in Rhodian, I guess. I guess that's the language, and you can clearly see the mouth moving. I mean, she's in full costume. It's a headpiece. I mean, it looks like a Rhodian from anywhere else you saw a Rhodian in TV and film. And of course, she's got the hands too. And she's a performer. I believe she plays the keyboard.
I didn't see the band. I only saw the
Yeah.
different characters.
But yeah, you basically interact with her and she speaks back to you. And I guess you just kind of have to read between the lines in a way to kind of reply to her. But yeah, I thought that was super cool. And Patrick actually does agree with us that, yeah, that was, I saw some of the people that were there like kind of tear up when that interaction was over, because I mean, we all want to be like we're in Star Wars, and I think
Yeah.
that's one of the special experiences right there, to actually be next to a Rhodian.
Yeah, I was just so amazed at how, like, smooth the mechanics were for, like, the mouth movement. It was so cool.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely wanna see if they do add more aliens in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chewie's on board. There's a mission where you actually hide. You have to hide Chewie. So Chewie's like 7 feet tall, and
Yeah,
somehow he has
I
to be in a group of people, like, crouching down.
I saw a video, where Chewie was on the elevator, and their mission was to hide him from the First Order, and, Ashley Eckstein was part of that group hiding Chewbacca.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that was what the video was, and I was like, "Oh, this just looks so fun."
So yeah, Rhodians actually speak Huttese. I totally forgot. Yeah,
Huh,
Greedo's speaking Huttese in episode 4. I totally forgot. But yeah, those are I think the highlights for me. Of course, it's 2 nights. Um, you get a trip to Galaxy's Edge, no lines, all you can eat food. Um, and yeah, just the immersion, I think, is something that unfortunately I haven't experienced yet because I went to Galaxy's Edge during COVID time.
same.
So it wasn't as immersive as I've heard. I still regret not going that first weekend. I had a chance to, and I just decided not to spend the money just to save a little bit. And now it's like, man, that would have been a totally different experience. But yeah, we will see what happens. And of course, we know Colin and Josh actually have an opportunity possibly to maybe get on the Star Cruiser since they work at Galaxy's Edge. I don't know, but hopefully they get that experience and maybe they can give us a little bit more insight into it. But is there anything else about the Star Cruiser that you want to talk about? Anything you saw on TikTok that caught your attention?
Um, yeah, Kylo Ren sounds like a demon from, like, the Conjuring series or something,
I did notice that he did not sound like Adam Driver. I thought that
which
was kind of
when he's in the
interesting.
mask, he doesn't particularly sound Adam Driver-ish. There's, like a filter or whatever, but I feel
Right.
like you could easily recreate that filter
Yeah.
because it's just so crackly.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it's, like, a sound system issue because, like, I mean, I went to go see Hamilton, and there was sound issues up the wazoo for, one of the songs, so, I mean, nobody's above a sound tech issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it's also interesting that the Chewie costume as well isn't like screen accurate as it could be. Because it always seems like they have issues with like the eyes.
yeah, the eyes and the mouth
Yeah.
are really hard to nail. Like, I've seen some amazing Chewbacca's, and then I'll go and look back at the original, I'm like, "Ooh, that's rough."
Yeah, yeah. I mean it's just one of those things that they can't nail for some reason. But of course I'm in the 501st and I've seen really, really close to screen accurate Chewbacca's with our members. And yeah, it's an impressive thing. And of course, it's usually people that are shorter than me that are like 5'6" that want to do Chewbacca, and then they wear the stilts underneath the suit,
Yeah.
and it works. I mean, I have a buddy in Atlanta that did the same thing, and it looks pretty good. So yeah. So there's a novel coming out entitled Brotherhood that you have some details on.
Yeah, so, I haven't heard about this one, but, apparently there is a novel coming out about May 10, called Brotherhood about Anakin and Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars,
Mhm.
and why it was brought to my attention was because the events in that book, according to the author, are going to directly tie in to events happening in, E.K. Johnston's Queen's Hope, which should be coming out sometime next month. I know pre-orders up to March 20 from I think it's like Fireside Books, old Fireside Books or something along those lines. If you pre-order from them before March 20, you get a personalized note from E.K. Johnston in the book.
Oh wow,
So
interesting.
fingers crossed I can do that. But it's on my birthday list. But yeah,
So is this
having
the book?
yes, having
Okay.
Brotherhood tie into Queen's Hope makes me want to read Brotherhood now. Um,
Yeah,
but people have gotten advanced copies of Queen's Hope already and have said that it's absolutely amazing. So I'm super excited.
nice. Yeah, I think everyone's gonna be excited to see and to read, um, anything that has to do with Kenobi, because, of course, the Kenobi series is about to drop. It's right around the corner, and it feels like a trailer is imminent. I was thinking if a trailer does drop while we're recording this, we're absolutely gonna do a reaction to it,
Oh,
but I'm still upset that we didn't get something during the Super Bowl. It's
yeah.
like, that's, like, the best time to drop something. And I mean, I really didn't care about the 2 teams that were playing. I was just interested in seeing if they dropped something Star Wars related.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that don't like sports will watch the Super Bowl just for the commercials anyway, so it's not like you don't have an audience already. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
my soapbox.
I mean, on the plus side, we got a poster, and that poster is furthering the Obi-Wan Kenobi Jesus meme. People are now using pictures of that poster to make inspirational Christian text posts. So they're falling for it all over the place. It just keeps going, and I love every second of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. I mean, it was years back where someone posted, I gave a picture, a framed picture to my grandmother of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she put it up on the wall because she thought it was Jesus. So,
Yep.
and of course, he's been referred to as Space Jesus as well.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think back, did George Lucas actually kind of mean for Obi-Wan Kenobi all the way back in the mid 70s to actually have him as like this like Jesus figure? I'm not quite
Well,
sure.
I mean, if we're analyzing it like that, technically Anakin fits more of the Jesus character.
Yeah.
Not the ending,
Yeah.
obviously, but I guess if Jesus turned to the dark side, is Anakin because like the Immaculate Conception, no dad, fun powers, joins a band of strangers and travels around to save people.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's he's technically Space Jesus, but he does not look like Space Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Jesus isn't white either, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah. So yeah, Patrick here wants us to get the discussion going, and he wants to know what we want to see and what we don't want to see. I'm guessing on the Star Cruiser.
The comment after that says Kenobi, so I think he's talking about the Kenobi series.
Yeah. Well, I think because we changed the conversation a little bit to Kenobi, but
Ah, I mean, I can pull up our bingo sheet if we want to go off of some of the stuff we're hoping to see there.
yeah, yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, let's see if I have the file on my computer yet.
So, I mean, it surprises me and shocks me that a lot of people don't kind of assume some things are going to be seen and happen. Um, I mean, one of the big things I think, even if you go back to the lore that was set up where Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon Jinn didn't complete his training, so we can't see him as a Force ghost. I think there's still a possibility we still see him as a Force ghost, but then there's also the possibility that we see him in the flashback. But I mean, just to doubt that he's not going to be in the show. I mean, if you've been following Liam Neeson's career, it feels like he's taken every single role that's been offered to him because he's done so many films in such a short amount of time.
Now, do you have to complete Jedi training to become a Force ghost?
Well, the way it was set up was the way it's described in Wikipedia is that there was a certain point that Qui-Gon he discovered how to come back as a Force ghost, but he essentially didn't complete the training um, to actually be able to do that, and just came back as a voice.
Oh, so that specific training.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was gonna
Right.
say, isn't he's a master? I would think he completed his training.
But yeah, he completed his training to be a master, but he didn't complete the training that wasn't known to the
I
Jedi
gotcha.
Order. That I guess I know there's a story behind that too. I'm not familiar with, but
Well,
he
hopefully
discovered
we
that
get it in
story.
Kenobi.
I mean, yeah, that's possible too. But I think it was said that he didn't complete the training in some point in time. I'm failing to remember here, but yeah, that's why he only came back as a voice. So that's why people are arguing. Okay, well, he can't show up as a ghost because he didn't complete that training. But of course, we all know that Anakin shows back up at the end of Return of the Jedi. Then of course Obi-Wan is there, and then Yoda's there. But it's like, well, okay, so Anakin shows up, but how is that possible? So
Sith stuff, maybe?
yeah, the Sith do learn how to essentially like not die by almost like doing like the whole kind of tying your soul to objects. Um,
Palpatine.
right, right. So, but they can't do the Force ghost thing like the Jedi.
Hmm.
It's an impossibility according to George Lucas. So, the question is, how did Anakin show back up as a Force ghost? Apparently, the way it's described in detail is that once Vader um, died, Obi-Wan and Yoda completed his training to become a Force ghost. It doesn't say at what point in time or how that came to be, because that's a little unclear as to was was Vader still alive when that happened, when he turned to the light side? I don't know. But like I'm saying, it's still possible if they use those those kind of metrics, those rules. I mean, Qui-Gon could still appear.
Yeah, I mean, it's fake and in space. Don't try to put too much logic into it.
Right, right. There's a certain amount of logic that you have in Star Wars. I don't consider Star Wars to be science fiction. It's fantasy. It's a space
Hmm.
opera. But I mean, still, there's a chance. And there's a whole lot of information that has leaked from Kenobi, like a whole lot at this point. And I don't think it's really a spoiler to say this, but nothing has leaked about Liam Neeson being on set. So, I mean, but they're shooting in the volume. So all they have to do is throw a robe on him, a black robe, have him walk in along with everyone else, and have others like kind of open up the robe, draw the attention away from photographers or these leakers, and just roll on in. So
Yeah, so I
yeah.
do have the bingo card. Um, so I guess just going in order, there's Alderaan. Order 66 is a given. They throw that in there as much as they possibly can. Tarkin, Max Rebo, Tusken Raiders, Jawas, Hello There, Qui-Gon, Bail Organa, which really hoping for that one. A Clone Wars flashback, Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker, Yoda. Then we have Blockade Runner, Yavin 4, new design for the Vader suit, Ahsoka, James Earl Jones returning to do the voice, Kitster, Protocol Droid. I included the Amidalans there because they did Sabe, Commander Sabe is
Mhm.
the head of the Amidalans and she operated on Tatooine. Um, so it's possible that maybe not Sabe, but some Amidalans could be there. Because they're looking for the cause of death for Padme, who killed Padme and Anakin. Because as far as they know, they were both murdered by Darth Vader on Mustafar. So, um, and then Hondo, an Inquisitor, and the Skywalker lightsaber.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Max Rebo should maybe be the free space. Because I'm not quite sure he's showing up.
No,
But
I mean they are on
that's
Tatooine, but that's about as much as I can give him.
yeah.
But if Colin gets to take up a square with Max Rebo, I can take up a square with the Amidalans.
Yeah, I would actually maybe lean toward more the Amidalans, but I mean, still, that's kind of tough.
I'd really like any of the Amidalans to make an appearance in the Star Wars like films or TV shows or something. I think that'd be really cool to explore. Well, especially because we're getting Vader back. Um, that I think the Amidalans are more likely. Because I mean, in the Vader comics, they essentially kind of track Vader down.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, we shall see. I
Fingers
think
crossed.
yeah, yeah, we were getting kinda scared there with the Boba Fett bingo card.
Oh, that took so long to get close.
Yeah, it was a little too close to quote Lando there, but
I'm
yeah,
I'm
it
hoping the
it
Obi-Wan
worked.
Kenobi one works out. I didn't do any strategic planning with the placement of the squares. I just filled them in as they came to us. So,
Right, right, yeah, and you're not aware of any leaks or anything like that, so,
nope.
yeah. So, yeah, yeah, look for that on social media to play Obi-Wan Kenobi bingo. So, yeah, Patrick's asking where's Colin at? Colin's actually on a cruise right now with Brooke, so lucky them.
You know, that reminds me
Not the Star
actually.
Cruiser, but a cruise actually on the ocean, yeah.
So I went to I think it's like an estate sale warehouse yesterday, and was just kind of browsing around, and there was a locked glass box with some pinback buttons in there. And I'm looking,
Mhm.
and there's a couple Star Wars ones, and there's a Rebel Legion logo, so I got that one. And then, of all the things, there's a little tiny pin that has Max freaking Rebo. So I bought it because it was $1. But I had to ask
Nice.
somebody to unlock the case so I could buy a freaking quarter-sized Max Rebo pin because
Wow,
Colin told me to.
jeez. Does it have, like, the date on the back of it? Is it like a
No, I
Lucasfilm
think they
pen?
might be, like, I don't think they're, like, official
Ah,
ones.
okay.
I think, like, somebody made them,
Alright.
but I'll take it.
Yeah, if you're fortunate to go to Star Wars Celebration, we will be having some pins to give away to listeners. All you have to do, I think, is just basically ask us, but we will have a Max Rebo pin.
I
So,
would like a pin. I won't be there, but I would like a pin.
yeah, you're definitely gonna get some because I mean, after all, you designed them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, yeah, you deserve a pin or two, yeah. So,
Thanks.
yeah. Yeah, definitely, and thank you, by the way. I don't think we've been able to thank you publicly for all your art that you've been able to supply the podcast. But yeah, pretty much all the art that we have has been either redone or created by our own very own Ray for the podcast. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm
So
hoping to redo our not redo, but, like, design up our logo with each of our favorite characters.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
well mine's already there with Luke Skywalker, so
Yeah.
that's one less that you have to do. And then of course you have Rebo with Colin. But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I do have secondary characters that I really love too. So like the Wampa and Salacious Crumb come to mind. But
Oh, yes, Salacious Crumb, that'd be hysterical.
yeah, yeah. Man, there's a clock that was sold, I believe, in 2015 that I did not buy because, of course, I traveled on an airplane. I didn't want it to break, so I didn't buy it. But I think you can buy them out there on YouTube or on not YouTube, eBay, and a lot of people have been like unboxing them finally because I don't know, they just became like popular all of a sudden. But yeah, that's one thing that I'll probably try and buy if it's at Celebration because I'm driving from Texas. So hopefully I'll have some trunk space. But yeah, Bat Wars 99 says he's going to sneak on. So
Onto the, cruise ship?
I don't know if he'll be able to do that. I think
They're probably
security's
out
pretty
at sea
tight.
at this point.
So can you get into on the Star Cruiser? Like, can you get onto it without going through Hollywood Studios? I believe you can, right? Because they showed those mock-ups of the cars being valeted and
Yeah, because I think
yeah, okay.
I heard or read somewhere that you're, like, taxied to the hotel or the cruiser or whatever.
Yeah, I think the taxis from the Star Cruiser to Galaxy's Edge. So, but yeah, like I said, the more and more I see those videos, the more and more I kind of just want to go now. Before I really wasn't keen on it, but now it's like, man, it seems like a cool experience, especially if we had the podcast there, which It would have been awesome if we would have got an invite to do that, but not many podcasts did get invites to it. I was kind of shocked, but yeah, yeah, we
Come on,
definitely would have made
Disney,
a video.
please.
Yeah.
You listened to us about Max Rebo, so somebody up there is listening.
Yeah, I think that's true. Somebody is listening. So, all right. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was, and we did mention it a little bit earlier in regards to the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer dropping. Um, but this comes from the website bespinbulletin.com, and they kind of spoke about how what the trend is for a possible Kenobi trailer release. And if we think back, if we remember back to when the trailer for Boba Fett was dropped, it was dropped about 2 months before the premiere. It was like on a random Monday. I remember waking up and James sent us a text message saying, "Hey, the trailer dropped." It's like, "Oh my gosh," it's like no one had any idea. So about 2 months seems to be kind of their template. And of
Which
course, I
would
think
be next month, which is a couple days.
right, right. It already feels like we're in March. Yeah. So yeah, so it's a big upcoming couple of months for Disney because of course they have the Marvel um, show Moon Knight coming out, and of course they have Doctor Strange coming out, and of course after that it's gonna be full on Kenobi because of course I don't think a lot of we spoke about this much, but I believe Doctor Strange comes out at the beginning of May, like May 3rd or something.
Let me double check. I know it is May, but
So yeah, you don't want to kind of put Star Wars and a Marvel thing too close together. And with the anticipation of that film, I think it's going to be pretty big. But
oddly
yeah,
enough, it's being released May 4. Disney, get your planning better. They'll probably drop a trailer. Oh, wait, no, because that would be too close. What if they wait until May 4 to drop the trailer? I'd
the
cry.
final trailer I would be totally okay with. I mean, that would be like a big event because it just escapes me that they didn't continue on that tradition when they did the Black Friday release of the teaser for The Force Awakens. I mean, I thought we are going to get a Black Friday Star Wars thing and set up that tradition. And it felt like there was like a general consensus that all the fans are like, okay, December is now Star Wars month. We're gonna get Star Wars stuff from here on out, and then they start moving the movies to May, and then the whole Solo thing happened, and I don't know, but
They like to keep us on on our toes.
yeah. So yeah, Patrick asked us thoughts on the world between world symbols on the Ahsoka show. I think we did address this last podcast a little bit. Um, and we talked about possible time travel and multiverses within Star Wars. You probably should have been on that podcast, but
Yeah.
it was
Work.
yeah, we figured the multiverse stuff would probably not really.
I don't see Star Wars doing multiverse kind of things.
Yeah, but the time travel thing has already been in Rebels, and of course you look at the Ahsoka logo and it's
Well, I think
all
I see, like, personally, I see time travel as very different from multiverse.
right, right. Yeah,
Because time travel, you're hopping around at different points on one timeline, whereas
right.
multiverse, you've got a ton of timelines.
Definitely.
I don't think they would do multiple timelines.
Right. So yeah, time travel for me is one of my favorite things to tackle in films. I mean, you look at Back to the Future, Endgame. I mean, it was done. I mean, of course, there are some plot holes and some loopholes and some like kind of questionable things, but I mean, still, I mean, it's a film. It's fake and in space with Star Wars. But I mean, they've already done it in Rebels, and at the time where they aired that episode, where Ezra, spoilers for Rebels, Ezra saves Ahsoka Tano from getting killed by Vader, and that was a big question at the time. How did Ahsoka survive? Because I think we all figured she did survive, and it's gonna be interesting how the story's gonna play out for the Ahsoka show because they're gonna have to address the whole world between worlds concept, and if they don't, that's gonna be horrible because it's in the logo.
Yeah, I feel like they wouldn't put it in the logo and then just not touch on it at all. It might not be like a big part of the show, but I feel you gotta include it at least a little bit.
Yeah, to me, it's gonna have a very important through line for that show somehow, some way. Um, it could get a little dicey if they do decide to go back in time and possibly change things, but I don't think they would actually go that far. I think Filoni and crew would have some type of more of an ingenious way of doing it, and I think Filoni's been thinking about it for years and years, so I'm not too worried about that aspect. What they would do exactly, I'm not sure. We've only seen Ezra rescue Ahsoka, so
I as long as they do a better job with time travel than, Marvel, I'm fine.
yeah, yeah,
Can they take a page out of Doctor Who's book?
yeah. So yeah, going back to the possible teaser. I know we've spoken about this so much. We just want to see some moving images from this show. We just
Yes.
want to see some Kenobi stuff.
I wanna see those outfits too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very shocking to see what they're going to show us, and I'm not sure if they're going to tease some of the elements that have been leaked, but I think we're just super excited. And I think it would have put us more in a frenzy if they showed us like even like seconds worth of footage during the Super Bowl for a Super Bowl spot. But instead we got goats. Yeah, goats wearing like Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff. But
I mean, we did get Ewan McGregor for a completely unrelated commercial.
yeah, and ironically enough that commercial was entitled Stuff. So you might actually hear a bit of that in one of our future openings for the show. I might include that along with Ray Park and Dominic Pace at the beginning of the show. You never know. So
Hmm.
so yeah, another story that kind of came out that dropped on the same website, bestmanbulletin.com, is the fact that Disney dropped their film release schedule, I believe on the 23rd, and it was kind of reiterated that the fact that Rogue Squadron is going to still come out on the release date that was set up. It feels like almost a years ago now. But of course, Patty Jenkins is still tied to it. The next Star Wars movie will be the Patty Jenkins movie entitled Rogue Squadron. And of course, we don't have any exact details for it, but there was some kind of rumors out there stating that she left the project, but then later on, shortly after, it was stated that she was still tied to it because apparently she was very busy with the film Cleopatra and of course Wonder Woman 3. So,
Wonder Woman 3?
yeah.
Wow, I'm out of that loop.
Yeah, yeah, so am I.
She sounds busy.
Yeah, she sounds very busy. But of course, she had that kind of video she did where she was on rollerblades on a tarmac. And apparently that was supposed to be released for the 2020 celebration, but of course that never happened. So we got it on the internet, and I believe it was on the Investor Day call where that was dropped, I
Mhm.
believe, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I remember seeing that.
So yeah, she's hyped up to do a Star Wars project, and I really want to see what comes of it. I'm not the biggest fan of her work, but I think she has the being that it is the next film, and it feels like it's almost going to be like a new type of phase, almost like a Marvel phase for Star Wars projects. Hopefully it is. Hopefully maybe it's in vain to the to one of the anthology films, even though it wasn't an anthology. It was called the Star Wars Story for Rogue One. Maybe there's some type of tie-in with that, but of course you have all the books that a lot of people, a lot of old school fans love. But it feels like it's going to be a brand new story, and of course we got this release schedule here that if you look carefully, you can kind of see what's in the possible future here. And it seems like they haven't moved off every other year. We're going to get a Star Wars film. So 2025, Actually, starting in 2023, we get Rogue Squadron, December 22nd, 2023. Then in 2025, there's another untitled Star Wars film. Then we skip a year because Avatar comes out, is going to come out in December, which the first one came out in December. It's going to be Avatar 4, which, yeah, that might shock a lot of people. But yeah, they shot 4 other sequels to Avatar. Then in 2027, of course, you get the next Star Wars entitled movie, and then Avatar 5. So,
Just looking at this, I mean, like, I'm looking at the number of a year, 2027, and I'm like, that's a fake year. This does not sound real.
yeah, it doesn't sound real. I mean, time is moving incredibly fast
I
here.
mean, 2010 was like last week, right?
I agree. Time is moving way too quick.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. So, yeah, they're still on schedule for that film, and I'm still wondering about those untitled Star Wars films. Is it going to
Yeah.
be the Kevin Feige produced Star Wars film? I know he's ultra busy. He's incredibly busy.
There's the Taika one.
He's incredibly busy
He is.
because he just picked up a couple more projects to do.
Of course he did.
So, yeah, I don't know. I totally agree. Ludicrous speed it is. Yeah, and before you know it, we're gonna have Kenobi. We're gonna have the first episode right before Celebration, which is gonna make it kind of hard for us to cover it in a way because I think a lot of us will be on en route to Celebration. So yeah, that'll be interesting where I watch that at. Um, but yeah, any thoughts on this release schedule? I know there's a lot of Marvel stuff that caught your attention there.
Yes, I'm very excited about some of that stuff for Marvel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read through the list here. Man, Marvel just it's like project after project.
Yeah, there's so many times where it just says untitled Marvel. Like there's one, two, three, four,
Yeah,
five, I believe. Five untitled Marvel projects just in 2023 and 24.
yeah, yeah. I totally think that Star Wars should have put their flag in the ground for December and just stuck with December. But of course, with the acquisition of 20th Century Fox, they now have the rights to Avatar, and those films got made before those rights were purchased. So they're thinking we got to make our money back now. So, and hopefully those films are great. And I don't
I
think there's
never saw the first Avatar. It never really intrigued
yeah,
me, so
yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. It started that whole 3D craze with 3D TVs. I bought a 3D TV, and I think I just watched The Hobbit in 3D, and that's pretty much it.
the only
Uh,
movie I've seen in 3D is Spy Kids 3D.
and there's a Star Wars connection right there. Robert Rodriguez, yeah. And Spy Kids was way before Avatar, right?
Yes.
But they use like the green and or the blue and red
Yes.
glasses, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's basically the news that's come out since Wednesday, since we dropped the last podcast. So yeah, now we're dropping podcasts every Monday morning and Thursday morning, and we're looking to see that there's a lot of Star Wars news about to hit, which I think it is has picked up, but it feels like man, once that trailer drops, there's going to be like so many opinion pieces and news on that and speculation. Um, yeah, our bingo card, I think will definitely have a few lines that are gonna hit because, like I was saying before, I mean, we're gonna get Qui Gon. I mean, that's almost for sure, and Tarkin as well. It feels like we're gonna get him. I mean, he has a really influential part in that whole time period. I mean, he has his own novel. I mean, it's and of course he was in Rogue One, and they did a
Hmm.
fantastic job with bringing him to life. So
Oh, it does remind me. A friend of mine sent me a video if we do get a young Luke and or young Leia in the Kenobi series, that to be extra careful when talking about their characters because we don't want what happening to we don't want
Oh yeah.
a repeat of what happened to young Anakin. And some Star Wars fans are notorious for uh, their horrible treatment of actors. Kelly Marie Tran, Daisy Ridley, just to name a few.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. I hope they're way more respectful to a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old actor actress. But when I think when you really sit down and you think of what is going to appear in this series, I don't think it's too difficult to predict what we're going to get. Because I mean, you figure that Obi-Wan is looking over young Luke.
And if we're gonna have Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, you kind of have to have a young Luke because they're gonna be right
Right,
there.
right, right,
Like
right,
even if he's just sitting in the background, there's got to be something.
right. Yeah. And I mean, there's other elements from the original trilogy that you figure that we're gonna get. Maybe the Sky Hopper. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to see that in action. Um, maybe the actual toy that Luke plays with. I mean, that's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's a little surprising when people say that this is probably not going to appear, and it's like, well, why would it not?
Who's to say they brought Luke Skywalker back?
Yeah, once that happened, even in The Mandalorian season 2, that final episode, it's like nothing's off the table anymore. I mean, it's that's kind of like broken that whole kind of glass ceiling of I think fans' expectations and limitations of what we can actually have in a series.
hmm
So
Especially with the continuation of Book of Boba Fett, just seeing him in there, uh, because like his part in Mandalorian was so small, but like he had a good chunk of screen time in Book of Boba Fett, so and it was really well done.
yeah,
So
very well
I
done.
think there's even less limits now with what they can do.
Yeah, and I've been watching um, regular TV, not cable TV, but YouTube TV, and I've seen commercials for Disney Plus, and the way they put the commercial together for the Book of Boba Fett, it seems way more exciting and adventurous than the series actually was because it's like these tiny clips of like Din Djarin, and of course he's saying, "I didn't expect to see you here," and then they show Grogu, and then they show, I think they show a little bit of the Rancor, and they show a lot of action stuff, and of course they show Luke, and it's like, wow, I want to see that series.
Part of me did really love that Book of Boba Fett was
Yeah,
just him, like, just wanted to be an old man and retire. It's like, you deserve it. You sit in that seat, you retire.
yeah, retiring to being a crime lord. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I don't have anything else, no.
Any type of anything Star Cruiser related? Because I know that a lot of information dropped, and of course, if you're on TikTok, you can jump on our TikTok and see our stuff. But we weren't at the Star Cruiser, so
No.
you won't see anything there. But there's a lot of stuff online, and of course, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. I know Colin's always there, and of course on Twitch, Colin and James actually played Battlefront 2 for a good while on Friday. So if you want to join up with them, you can on Twitch. And of course, we're streaming to Twitch right now. We have two, and we actually have two different channels on Twitch. So we have the game channel, and then we have the podcast channel. So yeah, you can find us at a lot of different places, pretty much everywhere you go. Rate and review us. You can give us 5 stars now on Spotify. I've seen a lot of you do that, and it's been awesome. Thank you for that. And of course, Apple's out there. It helps out the podcast a whole lot, getting seen, getting noticed. And we were actually contacted by someone that I've really been wanting to get on the podcast. I won't say who it is yet because I don't know if I'll be able to get this person, but
Do I
we
know?
talked. I think yeah, we put it in the main chat, I believe.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I've been a fan of this person for I guess maybe decades now. But yeah, hopefully we do get this person on the podcast and we'll do a special podcast for it. And yeah, we're looking to get on special guests. I know Dominic Pace has already said that he wants to come back on the podcast, but we're trying to get another. There's another Mandalorian actor as well. He said that he'd probably be on in April. So yeah, lots of exciting things to come, and we're always adding more to Patreon. So if you're not a subscriber to that yet, I suggest you check it out. And of course, it's at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. You'll get the podcast before anyone else, before the general public. Of course, you can watch it here on YouTube, but if you want to hear it in audio form, if you're on the run, you can hear it before anyone else because I drop it right after we record. And of course, you can see us on YouTube if you're watching us there. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, help us out. And of course, we have the website that Ray created for us where you can see the Marvel Stuff podcast members as well. You can see their bios and link to everything we do. And I think that is pretty much it. It looks like we have one comment left here to address. Thank you very much, Patrick. And for Ray, my name is David. May the force be with you.